So good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's good. Sorry about this, quick technology check, Google Meet and Microsoft Teams. So this is one of the lessons that we keep learning every day. So just again, welcome all to this community call where we, work together to help you in your journey to get back to the job search or to the job, the dream job that you're looking for. So just a disclaimer, this call is recorded and it's going to be uploaded to YouTube and also to social media. So if you're not comfortable, getting recorded or getting streamed, so please, you can leave the session now. This is again normal disclaimer that we have to share with everybody. So just if in case you're not comfortable, you can leave the session. So today we have the smooth transitions, adjusting to change. Our speaker Ashley Martin from US. I'm gonna give a quick introduction to her, but let me just go through those few slides and then hand it over to Ashley. So again, those calls happens every Sunday 10 a.m. Eastern and Thursday 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to follow us on the Facebook and LinkedIn, you will be able to get into those calls as they happen, and we announce and put the Eventbrite event for each event 1 week before at least. So why do you join those calls? It's mostly a networking, and also you practice your skills, you get more knowledge, you share and learn from others. So what I would ask everybody, again, as a good thing to network, if you can all put your LinkedIn profile in the chat, that would help everybody grow their network. So again, if you're comfortable doing this, this will help you connect with everybody in this call and grow your network, and make sure you know each other more. This will help you succeed in your job search journey. So the next thing that our objective is mainly to get you back to the job that you love in the shortest time. So we'll be working on that in the subsequent calls and show you lots of tips and tricks that would make this faster as ever. So the call structure, we share the LinkedIn, we hand it over to the speaker, and then we want you to ask questions as it come. The Q&A is very important for you, so take leverage of that and share your thoughts and be curious. Don't be shy. This is an opportunity for you to express everything that you want and make sure you get the maximum benefit out of this time. A couple of housekeeping items. We do a survey at the end of the call. If you can just please fill that 1-minute survey, it will help us understand your needs and also serve for the future calls, and also share your information with the speaker. We also do a group selfie at the end to gather as a moment and make sure we have this as a memory. When we all get back to the job, we remember those days, and we'll be very happy that we attended those calls. At the end, the kudos and recommendations is one of the key things in today's world that is very important. The speaker today, Ashley, is doing this voluntarily. She's not getting paid, and she's not expecting anything, but as a gesture, if you want to give her kudos and recommendations on LinkedIn, that's definitely going to be a key thing and very important for her as well within her space. She's an entrepreneur. She's helping everybody as much as she can, and it would be a good gesture from your side. Our ask to you, if you can, again, whoever got the job, please share it, and we'll be all happy for you. We'll be happy to get everybody to the job. So that's our objective. Join and invite everyone, whoever who's in need. It's always good that you share this with others because again, this is difficult time for some of us. So it's good, at least for some people, to have hope attending those calls. And if you want to volunteer with us, myself, Mariana, and the team are volunteering to help getting this done. So if you think you want to maybe spare 2 hours of your week, or maybe 3 hours, to give us a hand, please let us know. There will be a volunteer form that will be posted in the chat. So next sessions is going to be Reinvent You, Design a Career for Your Future. That's going to be Sunday. And Thursday, I'm going to be presenting the 4 M's again and focusing on the method specifically. So today we have Ashley, who's going to be presenting to us on the topic of, again, transitions, smooth transitions. And Ashley is the owner of Leadership Lady, a learning and development company that helps people and organizations leverage their soft skills for operational efficiency. Ashley uses an interactive data-driven approach in her services that include coaching, training, and speaking to help in the areas of people, productivity, and professional development. She authored Focus, Productive Leadership in Action, and has worked with organizations of all sizes and in a variety of industries. With that, I will hand it over to you, Ashley. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Good morning or evening. I believe it is. We're on the same. We're in the
Yeah.
same time zone, but I never want to take anything for granted. So, thank you for having me here. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Can you all see the screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. While we're getting that set up, I would love for you all to tell me where you currently are in the chat. Where are you currently in your job search? And what industry you're coming from? What industry you're in? I'd love to know. Again, where are you in your job search? Are you close to getting something? Do you have a couple of leads? And then what industry are you coming from?
Hey Ashley, my name is
Hi there.
Thomas. Hi, how are you? So my name is Thomas. I'm going to bank industry, and actually I have an interview tomorrow. It's another step. So yeah, I'm doing certification. It's a CSC certification, Canadian Securities course. So it's focused on the banking and securities. And yeah, that's where I am right now.
Awesome. Well, congrats on your interview. Anyone else? You can feel free to come on off of mute and you can share, or you can share in the chat. Where are you currently in your job search? And then what industry are you in?
Hi,
So
Ashley.
hi there.
Hi, I'm Elaine. I'm looking for a job in accounting field, and actually, I'm taking business administration at the college. And because of that, I can't find a full-time job. So I currently got a job for the summer, and after the summer, I keep looking for something.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Nice to meet you. I see in the chat we have someone that's self-employed in the marketing and publishing industry. Some other business owners,
Yeah.
project
So the
management, continuous improvement. Anyone else? We'll take one more off of mute.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi
Mauricio
there.
here. Hi. So I'm currently working as a procurement project manager, but I'm under a contract. So now I'm looking for a full-time permanent position. So I have background in technical project manager. So as a project manager, so yeah, now I just start to find some job to work as a permanent position.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Nice to meet you. Well, good luck to everyone. Incredible group. Have no doubt that you all will get the positions that you need, deserve, and that need you. So we're going to be talking about smooth transitions and adjusting to change. The big question we'll answer and hopefully help you answer is, how do we navigate change and transition smoothly? We know that change comes with a lot of turbulence sometimes. It's just different. So how do we navigate all of that, but just in a smoother way? Big objective is to equip you with mindset and productivity tools to help you navigate those changes and those transitions in your job search and anything else that may have been impacted by that, just to make things a little bit easier for you. As our host so graciously introduced me, thank you for having me again. My story was I was an educator before I turned a business owner. So I've been through the career changes. I also have a nonprofit, so I understand what it's like to build something from the ground up and all of the uncertainty that can sometimes come with that. But before I committed 100% to my business and my nonprofit, there I was on the search for a new job. There were job offerings, and so I've been through that process of what's that like to even consider leaving something that you're so comfortable and perhaps familiar with, to embracing something new. So you're not by yourself on the journey of change, and know that if I got over that hurdle, you can too. Just to make sure that we're all on the same page, I like to define things. And so for purposes of this talk and this call, we'll define change just simply as just becoming different, doing something different, and a transition as the process or period of changing from one state or condition to another. I just like to, set the stage with definition so that we're all on the same page. I'd love to know if, in your experience, whether this is your first time or second time that you've had to embrace searching for a new job, is change easy or hard for you? Feel free again to come off of mute and or comment in the chat. Is it something that excites you or you look forward to, or is it something that just kind of seems very daunting for you?
Anyone wants to come off mute? Again, this is important to collaborate and share your thoughts, So does change easy or difficult for you? This is the question.
Yeah, I can speak a little.
Go ahead,
So
Thomas.
for me, I'm Brazilian, so but for me, I had this experience in not in banking, but I had this experience in finance over there. And then when I came here, my wife was doing college, and I wasn't very good in English. So when I arrived here in Canada, like in 2017, first thing I did was like a survivor job for a while, and then I was growing in the company. I had good opportunities. But then I moved. I was living in Mississauga, Ontario. Then we moved to another province, and she has finished her college and everything. She get what she was looking for, and then I decided to focus in my career. Like a few months ago, that's why I decided to get my certification and get in the finance field again. So for me, has been uh, quite difficult and like sometimes frustrating because sometimes you apply, and you don't get answer. But I got some tips from the group, like don't focus on only in your resume. You need to build a good networking web, and so that's what I've been doing, and now I'm getting more and more like interviews and like yeah, it's getting better, but sometimes it's frustrating and like take a while to adjust and everything.
Right. So frustration, right? So sometimes we've all been there, and that's you're not by yourself. In the chat, I see that change makes somebody excited, but also nervous, a little bit of difficulty, and then Ronnie said that he likes change, and challenges are exciting, and so sometimes it's a mixed bag, right? For some, change is like it's nerve wracking and it's difficult, and then for others, they actually like it and embrace it. So the key to that is knowing where you fall in and where you fit in at, because that's gonna shape your experience, and that's going to shape just how you experience and navigate it. I always love to tell people change starts from the inside out, in your head and in your heart. And so it starts with the mindset. So we're going to look at two big things um, tool that will be added to your toolkit. And the first thing is your mindset, right? Your mindset impacts your perspective, which affects your behaviors. So there are four keys that I'm going to give you concerning mindset that will help you navigate and manage your mindset in the midst of your search. The first key is preparation, right? As you're embracing this new normal, this next normal, you want to ask yourself, what is your process? So when it's time to shift, as you all are searching for jobs, what's your process? Do you have a process that you follow as you're embracing getting ready for this change or this new role? A couple of things that you can do is determine what you see, what it means, and then how you're going to approach it. Oftentimes, we see processes in different departments in companies that you all have worked for and or will work in the future. It's no different when you're embracing change, right? There's a process, there's a step-by-step way that you can think through how you're going to embrace even your job search. So if you don't have one, here's a very simple one. What do I see? What does it mean? How do I need to approach this? Do I need to show up for the calls from CareerGo? Do I need to do a little bit more networking on LinkedIn? But consider those three questions as you think about how you want to be prepared. There comes times when change sometimes happens suddenly and you don't have time to prepare for a new role, or you have gotten an unexpected employment opportunity, right? So in those instances, that's where you need support and guidance, and you need community like this one. It's extremely important that you don't try to embrace a sudden change by yourself. So you want to make sure that you have the support of a community. Regardless of where you are, keep showing up, because that is what you need right now. You may not like it all the time, but it's what you need right now. Does anyone have a process that they think through or work through as they're embracing change, or that you've actually embraced in your job search? What's been your approach? I see a head, so
Anyone?
no approach.
Again, it's very important to, share your thoughts. Again, this is where you will learn. So don't be afraid. It's all family here. Nobody will be judged. So, just share what you think.
No, okay.
Ahmed,
Okay, sorry. Go ahead. No, go. You started first. Go ahead.
All right. So, first of all, Ahmed, thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you, Ashley, for this nice presentation. I just want to, before I share my opinion on this, just want to also say good luck to Thomas. I know he has an interview tomorrow, so just want to make sure to say good luck to him, and hopefully, we hear some good news. As for the the process or the strategy, I will not be talking about job search in specific, but generally, if I'm about to make a change or proceed with something different, I have to first see myself in this state. Like look ahead. What do I need to be? Where do I want to go? And it's probably like a big goal or a big thing. And the process I'm talking about or referring to is simply breaking down this big goal into tiny, small steps that I can proceed on with every day. If I'm able to break it down to something small or little every day, and I'm able to do that every day, then by 2 months or 3 months, I would have accomplished maybe 1/3 of it or half of it. By 6 months, I would have acquired the certificate or moved on to this role. So I guess what I'm saying here is consistency and breaking down the goal into small steps. I guess this could be applied to lots of things. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. You brought two very good principles: consistency and then chunking, right? Breaking that big thing down into smaller steps so it doesn't seem as daunting or overwhelming. And there was someone else that was going to share. Would you like to come off mute?
Yeah, I was just going to say something similar. And in my case, I had a big gap from my career. So what I wanted to start back on when I found the time suitable, I started to put milestones for myself. First of all, I wanted to update my LinkedIn profile, and then starting to refresh the information, fill the gap with whatever I did in the gap in my resume, and then starting to find jobs suitable to whatever I stopped at, and trying to find what are the prerequisites for these jobs nowadays in compared to when I used to do it. And I'm trying to find what are the certificates or whatever things that I have to add on to my skills so that I can take it from whenever I stopped, so it's a kind of to structure your mind, see how can you fit back in whatever you stopped at a few years ago.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Awesome. In the chat, I see learn. I take courses and read books. And that's extremely important. The last person that shared, it's good that you recognize that you had things you could go to see where your skills were coming from. Your resume, we'll get into a little bit of that, and LinkedIn, extremely important. Use all of your resources and your assets. Again, sudden change requires support and guidance, and even gradual change. I would also say that it requires support and guidance. The next key I want to give you, as you are thinking about how to manage your mindset through this change, is positivity. There's a quote that says, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond. In the midst of your change and your job search and just change in general in life, whether it's an addition or a loss, you want to make sure that you are processing your emotions. So I'm very realistic in understanding that change can bring a lot of different emotions to the table for different people. You all have shared some of these things already. It's frustrating for some people, and it's nervous for some, and it's exciting for others. You want to process your emotions and be honest with yourself, be real with yourself, and really say how you feel and be cognizant of how you feel. But you also want to remain hopeful, and you want to remain positive. There is something for you. There's something for you. And so stay as positive as you can in the midst of processing how you're really, really feeling. And then a second thing you want to do is exercise grit. That's tenacity, perseverance. Don't give up so easily. You may not have gotten a phone call back the first time, or you may not have gotten a response on your email, or you may have gotten a rejection letter. Have experienced all of that. Don't give up, because for all of the no's or the not yets, there's a yes, or there's several yeses that are for you. And you just may have your pick of the litter, as we like to say. You just may have your pick. So you want to stay as positive as possible and remain hopeful. There is something. But again, be very real and process your emotions. You may say, well, actually, how do I process my emotions? You can do a brain dump. A brain dump is a simple exercise. If you have a journal or a piece of paper or even your phone, and just write out how you're feeling. If you're frustrated, write it out. Just dump everything on the paper. Dump everything on the paper. If you're comfortable with typing, type it out. But you want to make sure that you're getting all of those other emotions out so that the positivity can rise to the forefront, so that the hope can rise to the forefront. Okay? Any questions or comments about that? Has it been hard for some of you all to remain hopeful in the midst of your search?
There is always dark days, I'm sure, like I've faced it myself when I was searching back in the days. There was some days that I really almost, lose hope, but I got back using friends and family and everybody around me. So again, hopefully, there is always that day that's gonna come.
Right.
Anyone
No.
wants to share? Yeah.
Hi, good
Yeah.
evening. Michael Thompson here. Hello?
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, great. Yeah, as it relates for me, yes, there are some days that are very dark. For example, last year, December, I had like 3 interviews lined up back to back and made it to the final round for all 3 of them. And for some reason, I only got a generic email for one, and the other 2 got postponed. And it was very demotivating because after going through 2, 3, and sometimes 4 rounds of interview, developing business case presentations, and all of that does manifest to something in your favor. And one would say, you know what, you're getting more experience, which is fine. But at the end of the day, you want to get a job. You need to get that your career path back on track. And it can be demotivating for sure. But for me, every day I wake up and I tell myself, okay, today's a new day. I'm going to push forward. And that's this thing that I use as a motivational factor to really drive it through. Because it can become very depressing. And having a community, having the support of each other, it makes a big difference.
Love that. Love that attitude. Every day is a new day, new
Exactly.
opportunity.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing in the comments. It's not easy. Thank you for sharing that. And Paul, thank you for sharing about the power of connection, because it's definitely important, right? Extremely important. So, preparation, positivity. The next key to managing your mindset as you change is clarity. You want to be so clear. Sometimes there can be fogginess. If you have felt depressed in the midst of your search, or a bit frustrated or anxious, or even if you've been excited, you can be all over the place. You want to be as clear as possible, and clarity is your friend as you're embracing a new normal. So, what does that look like? Ask questions. There is not a dumb question, especially if you are on a search for something that is going to impact your life. Ask questions. And if you find that if you're a person who you may not feel comfortable asking questions, guess what? We have the internet. If you have an iPhone, you have Siri. Ask questions. You have this community. There's YouTube, but you want to find out as much as possible as early as possible. It minimizes some of that frustration and anxiety that can come with change. And another way to do that is communicating. Be very clear about your needs, your expectations, and the responsibilities that you have. That includes, the communication with your loved ones, with your friends, with community, and even future and potential employers or partners. Communicate. Ask them. The worst someone can say is no, or we don't know, we'll get back to you. But again, clarity can lessen conflict. And while all conflict is not bad, there's some conflict that you don't probably want to deal with, right? And it can also ensure that issues are not caused by a lack of understanding. So to avoid misunderstandings, when in doubt, just ask questions. Just ask. Clarity is important. Okay? And then the last key to managing your mindset before we get into talking about your skill set is flexibility. I love this quote that says, "Blessed are the flexible, for they will not be bent out of shape." Okay. Planned flexibility is something that oftentimes business owners have to adopt, and people who are looking for for new jobs and careers, you want to have a plan in place, but what do you do when the plan has to get thrown out of the window? So there lies in your flexibility and your ability to say, okay, I'm going to adjust. Maybe it's your approach. Maybe it's the strategy. Maybe it's the attitude. But you want to stay flexible because they're changing, right? The one thing that's constant is change. So try to stay as flexible as possible and be open to doing something a different way. Be open to do something a different way. Has anyone here experienced or had an experience in your search where you've had to adjust how you approach something? Maybe it was a lead, or have you had to adjust at all your approach?
Yeah, so when I started looking for jobs, I have a very different approach. I had my approach from back home where I would be just writing resumes and hand it over to everyone. And then I realized that here it's more about networking. So I had to adapt to that. It was not easy. It's still not easy. It is not easy for me. So, but it's a process, right? So
Right.
I just learn from the process and keep improving as much as I can.
Thanks for sharing. Anyone else? See lots of comments.
Yes, for me,
Yeah, I think I had to adapt to, like, it's like Mariana just said. When you go through resume, I think it's the hardest part for immigrants, because especially if you have a career back home, the way you learn it to do there might be different from here. So I think in my country we focus more in like hard skills, and here I feel sometimes soft skills are more important than hard. So I need to adjust to that.
Right. Thanks for sharing. You all brought up two really important things. Adjusting to a new environment, right? So if you're moving, say, from one country to another, or in the virtual world that we live in now, maybe your home country, you live in one space, and then you work for in another space. You have to adjust how you approach things. Handing out your resume or emailing your resume. For some people, messaging on LinkedIn works. There have been many people who have gotten opportunities just from being on LinkedIn. And so keeping that in mind, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but when you need to, be cognizant of the environment that you're in or you're entering into so that you can know what strategy or what approach works. So thanks for sharing that. So we've discussed so far preparation, positivity, clarity, and flexibility. All of those things will help you manage your mindset as you embrace this change. The second thing you want to look at is your skill set, right? Again, we're going from the inside out. So with your skill set, if you haven't already, one of the things you can do is look at your resume, highlight the action verbs and the results that you provided. There should be some things that pop up and jump out at you. As you do that, highlighting your action verbs and the results that you provided for the companies that you work for or the businesses that you've started, start to examine and write down what your strengths are. What are the strengths that you bring to the table that you can transfer and bring with you wherever you go? Another thing that you can do when you're assessing your skill set as you embrace a new normal, look at the things that your resume doesn't capture. This is as simple as, again, getting a piece of paper or opening up a Google Doc or a Word doc and making a list of all of the other skills, strengths, and talents that are not listed on your resume. Write those things down. So much is changing. I'm doing a lot of research right now on the future of work and what the future looks like just in general, in the workplace and just in the world that we live in. And some of the things that we are currently doing now, they will be obsolete years to come. There are jobs that exist now that 10 years ago, never heard of it. It was not even a thought. 5 years ago, there were jobs that were not anywhere in anyone's radar, right? And so the one thing you're going to always have with you, your skill set, your strengths, your talents. So whatever your resume doesn't capture, write down or make a list of the things that you're really good at. That includes your technical and your soft skills. Soft skills, your communication, ability to connect with others, your ability to collaborate, okay? Your ability to problem solve. You want to make sure you're highlighting those things that your resume doesn't capture, and you're cognizant, again, you're cognizant of those particular things. Finally, what you want to consider is making a list of new skills. Just like I mentioned, the future of work is going to look very different than it is now. Things are changing even from year to year, especially with the onset of COVID, right? Our world has shifted. And so you want to make another list of new skills that you want to learn, you're willing, or you need to learn. What's something that you all have recognized that if you didn't have it before, you definitely have to have it now? Just since the pandemic.
More virtual skills, maybe.
Right.
Digital skills.
Absolutely. Virtual skills. So for people who are saying, I'm not getting on Teams or I'm not getting on Zoom, not an option right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Someone was about to say something. Go ahead. Anyone?
Yeah, it's good. Thanks, Paul. A good video setup. Absolutely. Right. So we have had to embrace not only new technology skills, interior decorating skills, right? What anything else that you've seen that you've had to learn as a result of COVID? And you take some time to think about it, but just be cognizant of those things. Flexibility with tech and Wi-Fi, absolutely, right? Absolutely. Even for people who are retired, doctor's appointments, those are virtual right now. So much. School is virtual. Where are the parents at? Or students? I know there's a student here. But parents, I'm sure you have had an interesting time with virtual learning, right? To love my home. Thank you for sharing that, right? For those of us who are used to being on the road or you're used to being in the office, learning how to embrace work and home in the same space is definitely an adjustment. You're used to those boundaries. You're used to that commute time. Resilience. Awesome. 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 Right. How not to give up. Controlling anxiety. Absolutely. What's your locus of control? So if you tend to get a little anxious, try to focus on what you can actually control. Work-life integration. Thank you for sharing that. Absolutely. So whereas it was an option for some people in certain industries where they were able to work from home, it's now becoming something that's standard and that we're going to see a lot more. Not that everyone is going to be working virtually, for all of eternity, but it's becoming a standard in a lot of industries and for a lot of companies. And so with that, you want to make sure that you are aware of the fact that you're going to have to embrace learning something new, right? So why not set yourself up for success and think about, what do you want to learn? Like, hey, maybe I want to learn a little bit more about media, or I want to learn a little bit more about technology that pertains to my industry. And then what are you willing to learn? It may not be at the top of your list, but you're willing to learn it. And then what you absolutely need to learn, because there's some things you're going to have to learn. Okay. So again, transitioning smoothly starts from the inside out. You want to manage your mindset. That's half the battle. If you got your mind on tight and your thoughts about your change in the right space, they may not be certain, they may not be solid just yet, but if you're willing to work through a process to get to where you need to be, half the battle is done. And then you want to look at your skill set, because that shows up on the outside. adjusting to change is a part of life, and it doesn't have to be a daunting task. So again, you don't want to neglect that whole concept of embracing it from the inside out. If you need some support and you want to stress a little bit less, there's a free resource that is on my website. The information is here, and I'll make sure I include it in the chat. It's a free ebook for 20 ways to stress less. And so very easy to implement, practical things that you can do to just relax a little bit more, and feel a little bit more at ease, because we're in a different time, a difficult time. And I know transitioning and finding new employment is not the easiest thing. And then for those who are interested in developing as a leader, there's information about a training program that is coming up real soon. So thank you for having me. I would be open to answering any questions that anyone would have at this time.
Thank you, Ashley. Great presentation. So we'll open it up for Q&A. So if you want to unmute yourself or raise your hand and ask questions, please go ahead. And just to let you know, everybody, we have Dr. Paul Newton. He's one of my friends as well. He's also, having his own business for storytelling and writing books. And also Mike Gibara is a recruiter, and he's gonna help you if you want to reach out to Mike, if you want to share your resume with Mike, and he could maybe help you within your journey. Mike is mostly working on IT, and he's based out of Ottawa here.
I will try my best, I promise.
Thank you, Mike. I'm sure we will. So if you want to...
Great presentation, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And another thing that when my son moved home, my two boys moved home because of COVID, what they do now is they meditate in the morning before they go out to work, just to kind of prepare themselves. It kind of relaxes them, get them to be more focused. And I think, as you said, when you're more calming and relaxed, I think that is key. It really reduces the nerves. If you're going in for an interview, if you're applying for a job, it just gives you a different mindset. And I actually tried it for the first time last weekend, and it does work. It really does calm you down. So that's another point. Be able to, lots of it on YouTube, different presenters and everything else. It's just another way of kind of relaxing, and it's all about relaxation, I think. Anyways, thank you very much, Ahmed, for inviting me all the time. I really do enjoy this.
Thank you, Mike. We really enjoy having you with us too. So anyone else want to share feedback? Any questions come to mind? And use this opportunity. It's very important for you to use those opportunities. This is how you will grow. This is how you will really reach your dream job. Be curious and ask questions. No.
Also, another good point that Ashley brought up is about LinkedIn. And I do a lot of my searches when I'm doing, looking for certain candidates for specific roles. I go through LinkedIn and I try and see who I think would be a good fit and reach out to them there. So if you do, if you are on LinkedIn, make sure that you always update your profile and try and put as much in there as possible. A lot of people really minimize their information there, and sometimes they leave out keywords that may pick them out from a group. The more information it is, the better it is on there. But it's a very good tool, very, very good tool.
Good point, Mike. Thank you.
I actually have a question. Ashley, do you have any advice, like how can I deal with all those platforms? Because like here we have like Google Meet, Teams, Zoom, LinkedIn, so the pandemic brought to us like a range of, like you said, a range of things that now we need to learn how to deal with. And like, do you have any advice that you can give, like how's the best way to manage what I should focus,
Right. So I want to make sure I'm understanding the question, because how to manage all the technology. Right.
How can I manage like the whole new technology I need to be aware now, like, because before, like you said, was a choice, right? Now
Right.
it's like you needed to.
Absolutely. One of the things you can do is, I believe in using all your resources, use the internet, and familiarize yourself with the new technologies. You can create a Google alert if you'd like, and you get, if you put in the Google alert, new technology, and every day, or depending on the frequency that you set, every day or every week, you can get an email with all of the articles that are floating out there in the internet world about new technology that's coming out and different things. You can also take the ones that you're familiar with and get really good at them.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard about the big new one. It's like a Clubhouse. So everyone's talking about. I don't know if you had the chance to enter or
right.
something like that. Like,
right.
so it's like
and I'm a big fan of. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, sorry. You can continue.
I'm a big fan of people really like finding their space. So find your place, because there's so many of them. Try to choose 2 to 3 that like you feel like this is your community, and you either give information there or you receive, or both. So find your space and really learn that. I am not on Clubhouse. I got invited early on. It's just too noisy for me, but that's my personality. So
yeah,
it just was a little bit too noisy for me, but for some people, they love it. And there's so much that they can learn and they can do. And I'm like, go for it. You just have to find what works for you.
Yeah, I've been trying some rooms. I think they call it rooms. So I've been trying some of them, and like if you don't if you don't enter at the beginning of the conversation, you are like just okay. I don't know what's happening here, and then they go back because we're saying something few hours ago, and like it's related. So for me, it was like a little bit crazy, like too much information, and you don't know how to process.
So just find your space. Find just like when we're face to face, you got to find your space and learn that really well and master it. Anybody else? Any questions?
Yes, I have question, Ashley.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It's very useful. I have this question actually. How I can measure my skills? Okay, for example, if I am willing to learn new skills, or currently I am learning skills, so I catch up these skills from e-learning or interact with the people and so on. So my question, how I can make a matrix for myself to measure my skills? If I classified my skill low, medium, high, how I can measure this? Thank you.
Thank you for asking the question. That's a very good question. That you're talking about, data and assessment and really measuring like what you're good at. My response to you would be because there's so much out there that can measure, is to get really focused as to what your skill set is, your top 3, the industry or the lane that you're in. LinkedIn has some incredible courses that give you badges or certificates of completion. And you're not able to get those badges of certificate of completion until you show your competency on those. So I would start there. If you have a LinkedIn profile, go to LinkedIn and Google or search within their platform the skill that you're trying to measure, and see if they have a course. Because in the process of you taking that course, you're going to complete an assessment, and it'll let you know how you're doing in that area. So that's one place that you can start. They have some that are free and some that are paid.
Yeah, actually, this is a good point. Actually, LinkedIn is now having this endorsement option of the skills, and you can test some of the skills like project management, other skills, maybe not the soft skills, but mostly the technical skills. So if you're good in project management, for example, they will give you an exam, and this will tell if you're really good at it or not. And if you're not good at it, then you may need to take a course. So this is now available in LinkedIn within your profile. Good question, Mohammed.
Yeah, thank you very much. And the outcome of this test would be like published in my LinkedIn profile?
No, it will be just for you until you want to publish it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can choose not to publish it. You can choose to publish it. It depends on you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will look for this. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Mohammed. Anyone else? We have like 5 minutes, and I'm also happy to stay after the call. If you have any other questions I can help you with, I'm happy to do that too. Any other questions? Anyone?
Hi, Ashley. Mauricio here.
Hi, Mauricio.
Thank you for our presentation today. It's amazing.
I
I would like to see with you how you are interpreting now, like everything is on virtual. We are having all this lockdown and no having haircut and something like this. And how do you think the appearance in the camera is important during the interview or something like that?
That's a good question. I still believe from what, conversations I've had with friends of mine, you still want to show up professionally, even on camera. And it helps with so much, right? It helps with you getting in the mindset and in the behavior of going to work as if you were in an office. And one day you may have to go back. There's some companies that are adopting hybrid models. One day you may have to go back into the office or building. You don't want to go, just looking sloppy or any kind of way. So I would say show up to a virtual interview or a virtual call just as you would show up if you were going face to face. Now we can't tell what's going on from the waist down. Put your pajama pants on. We can't tell unless you have to stand up for whatever reason. But from waist on up, you want to make sure that you're showing up your best.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Good question.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go to the work with the shirt and the short.
Right. It's a good question.
Anyone else? A good question. Thank you, Mauricio.
I have a question here, Michael.
Go ahead, Mike.
So, making it to probably second, third round of an interview, and it leaves down to probably you and two other candidates. How do you differentiate your unique selling proposition compared to somebody else? What differentiates you? What are some of the key points or tips that you can share on that part of it?
Differentiating yourself, excuse me, for 1 second. I don't want my tablet to die. Differentiating yourself from your competition.
Yeah, so if you look at it, so
Right.
majority of the jobs out there. So for example, you share the same skill set, years of experience on doing a project, but it leads on to you and next candidate or two other candidates. You want to put your best foot forward and make a case where you put your icing on the cake to get that offer. Can you share some tips on how do you differentiate yourself in that final round?
Absolutely. Show up as yourself. Be your most authentic self. That is the number one way you can differentiate yourself from anybody. It will come to the table. There's a layered, I wouldn't call it a challenge. It's just another layer when we are interviewing virtually and, you're on a job search virtually. You may not necessarily know who your competition is. If you were face to face, you may see people in the lobby or in the office. you may not know who they are. And so the best thing for you to do, unless you ask the person who's interviewing you or your employer, is to show up as your best self, because there's something about you that's going to stand out. Perhaps you want to share, you could share something that your resume, like as I mentioned before, you could share something that your resume may not capture. I've seen that on a lot of applications. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that wasn't asked directly? So always have something, a couple of things that you've done or accomplished, or results that you've helped someone else get that your resume doesn't capture, because that is another way that you can be differentiated amongst your competition.
And I think,
Okay.
To your point, Ashley, and I want maybe Mike to chime in here. There might be already some, different, ways of selecting that you're not aware of. And Mike, feel free to chime in here. You have the.
Yeah. One of the things, I don't think you should worry about anybody else. I think when you're going into the interview, and usually I deal with technology, is that you stress that if you're working on a project, you want to identify what you've done on that project. You don't say we did this, we did this, we did this. You want to clearly identify what you yourself have done. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, so they can see that you're actually, you can work individually and contribute to the project. Another thing is if you go into an interview, and what I tell some of my candidates is that pretend you're talking technology with friends. It kind of breaks down that nervousness, that barrier, like the boss, me, and just chat with them. Be open with them, frank, laugh when you have to if there's a light moment. It just, because with the video, and it's great with the video, but in person they can see your body action. They can see how you answer questions, how you react, and you can see how they react. So it'll gauge you on how they're feeling, if you gave the right answer or not. So all those tips, it all helps. But as like anything else, be calm when you go in there, be relaxed, speak clearly, identify what you've done, and be prepared. Learn, look up the company, what they do, what they've done the last couple of years, where they're heading, and you want to make sure you research that and you bring that to the table with you, and that will help, but be prepared.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, perfect.
And I can add to this, Mike, one of my colleagues who are mentoring me internally in Microsoft, that you need to give the hiring manager some information to support you. The hiring manager need to defend you in front of others that you are the best choice. So you need just to give them some, ammo and, some information about you that really makes you stand out and you're defended against others. So, one thing that, that person who mentored me told me, at the end of the interview, just say, do you think there's anything that couldn't make me a best fit for that? And if so, let me know and I can answer it to you. So, this question, give like confidence, like, you think you're really a best fit, you manage and shared everything that they asked for, and you're giving them, a way to really defend you when they go alone and discuss, like this candidate or this candidate or this candidate, then they see that you stand out.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you. I know we're almost on time, so if there is no other questions, we can leave it there and wish everybody a good evening. So, any
Are you
other?
gonna take a picture?
Yeah, we'll take the group selfie. Yeah, if you're comfortable
Okay.
putting your camera, we can take the group selfie all together.
That's the reason why I wore a shirt. No, I'm
And
only kidding.
please, while
Okay, so let me take the together mood.
while we are open the cameras, I'm sharing again the link for the feedback. It's just 2 minutes. Just share with us what you thought of the call, and then we will learn from there, and we'll make better and better workshops in the future.
Okay, when you're ready, 1, 2, 3, and big smile. Okay, thank you. That's a good smile and good memory. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Ashley. Really appreciate your time and wisdom. And again, you know, just a reminder, please send kudos, recommendations to Ashley. She's done a fantastic job today and you know, helped us also, you know, just drop her just a few lines thanking her for her time and wisdom today. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you all. Thank you for having me. All the best on
Have a
your
good day.
searches, and hope you find what you need and what needs you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.